Let this poor boy tell y'all why I'm sitting here. I was doing it yesterday, be doing it next year. I just love to play my music. Hey! I sure tickle my soul. I tickle my soul. Well, I just love to play my music. Hey! A lot of blues, a touch of rock and a roll. A touch of rock and a roll. Let me tell you. I play for doctors and lawyers, y'all. Truck drivers on the go. Then I go play for the bums. Remember those guys? Down yonder on Skid Row. I just love to play my music. Lord, 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 I tickle my soul. I sure tickle my soul. I just love to play my music. A lot of blues, a touch of rock and roll. Some folks call happiness diamond rings and big cars. I call happiness new strings on my guitar. I just love to play my music. Hey, let me tell you, I sure tickle my soul. I tickle my soul. Well, I just love to play my music. A lot of blues, ha! A touch of rock and roll. Touch of rock and roll. Why don't you let this poor boy tell you while I'm sitting here? I was doing it yesterday. Be doing it next year. I just love to play my music. Wow! I tickle my soul. Well, here we go. Another alligator in alignment. I hope you guys enjoyed the last one we did with Nate. Very, very. I just love what we did, and I'm looking forward to working with him again and giving him a platform to further explain his views on some of the things that could help everybody. Right now, let me call in my co-host, my son, Cowboy Dhani.
Hey, Pops, it's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Be here with you guys as well, huh?
Yes, indeed. Now, we're going to touch on a few subjects here. Right now, we got to say it's the Christmas season. This is Christmas is what, Saturday?
Sure is. It's coming up.
This coming Saturday, yeah. Christmas Eve is Friday or whatever. No, Saturday, yeah. Let me turn this off. We wanted to speak about. You had a subject you wanted to talk about, Don.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's been a lot of stuff going on in the news, but the topic I found most interesting recently has been the return of Brittney Griner, WNBA basketball player. If you guys haven't been following the news, she was arrested back in February, I think, March, April, something like that, on possession of marijuana in Russia. Now, she didn't actually have the psychoactive part of the marijuana with her. It was just the CBD, which people use to treat all sorts of things, whether it's sore knees or helps them sleep, all kinds of stuff they use it for. But it is still illegal in Russia, and so she was arrested. And after a trial by pretty obviously a kangaroo court, she was given 9 years for a gram or a couple grams of this plant. Now, a lot of people are saying, she was doing something illegal in Russia. Okay, maybe she shouldn't have been breaking the law, but now there's a study. I mean, there's been not studies. There's been other cases of people being arrested for similar things, or with even more of the weed, and they get a couple months. Is that right? A couple hundred or a couple thousand ruble fine.
Yeah.
And they're returned to their families, man. Not 9 years. And
I saw a case where a lady came through. I even have her name, but of course we're not going to use that.
Mm-hmm.
And had over twice the amount
that
of the oil that she had, and she was given a 2 or 3 months sentence and 1,500 rubles, and she was sent home.
Right. So this should dispel the first thing that a lot of people are saying, which is she did the crime, make her do the time, which that's all well and good if it's reasonable, but it's pretty obvious that considering the international situation, spectacle, debacle, illegal war that Russia's involved in right now, and this is obviously not the case. This is a case of them having some star, an Olympic medal winner from America captive and using it as leverage to sort of get a little arm over on the West, right? So the first big thing is she did the crime, make her do the time, but obviously this is not equal punishment when you compare it to other people who have been arrested for similar crimes or with even more of the drug. Now the second thing that people like to bring up a lot is who she was traded for. There's this guy by the name of Victor Bout. Some call him the Merchant of Death, right? He was this arms dealer. He was arrested and convicted and given 25 years, of which he served 14 of them so far, right? So he would have 11 left if he were to finish out his sentence, but the current administration decided to trade him for this person, Brittney Griner. And there's a bunch of people that have a big problem with that, where they're like, this guy's, responsible for all these deaths. Yeah, I mean, that's terrible. And, of course, we want to make sure that guy is, punished as far as we can, but we were only able to get 25 years worth of stuff on him, A. B, it's not like he's going to leave and go back to his international arms dealing ways. I mean, this guy's had a freaking movie about him. Like, everyone knows who he is. Other countries want to get their hands on him. So he's not going to just have free reign of the world. And C, there was an American citizen that we were able to trade for, Brittney Griner. And, she was unjustly imprisoned. She was given 9 years for something a similar person got 2 months for. And if there's any way we can prevent that to an American citizen, we should. Which brings me at least to my third thing that I've been really excited about and really sort of agitated about. A lot of people are saying, well, this girl, Brittney Griner, like, what has she done? She's just some basketball star. She's gay. She's black. Blah, blah, blah. Like, why did we go and get her instead of this other American that's been there for a while by the name of Paul Whelan? They say, oh, Paul Whelan's an ex-Marine. He's an American hero. And we're just Biden's just leaving him to rot. The current administration is just leaving him to rot. Like, what's going on with that? Well, just to give you guys the full story, if you haven't come across it, Whelan was arrested in 2018 on charges of espionage. He had been dishonorably discharged, but shit happens, from the military a couple years before. Was working as a private contractor. Was in town for a wedding, and was arrested on espionage charges. Now, at the time, we still had this guy, Victor Bout, the what do they call him, the Merchant of Death or whatever. Yeah. And I don't know if some trades were supposed to be made, they weren't made, but whatever the case may be, Whelan's still there, and Russia didn't want to play ball for him. They didn't want to play ball for him back then, and it doesn't seem like they wanted to play ball with him right now, with all reports. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to choose Griner over Whelan, and it wasn't like, oh, we could do some 2-for-1 deal. There's American citizens over there in prison, and we're going to do what we can to get all of them back. And the thing is Whelan's family spoke out and said, Whelan was never on the table. They said that. His sister was like, hey, we would love our brother and our son and our family member to come back, but just because this other woman was able to and ours wasn't, doesn't mean we should just leave her there to rot anyway. And so all this stuff is really disheartening, because I am seeing a lot of people saying things like, oh, we should have left her there, she did the crime, or oh, our president just got her instead of the other guy because she's a minority, or she's blah blah blah, or she's this. And it's just not the case, man. If you take a breath and you look at all the things in front of you, you'll see what this all really amounts to. And what it probably amounts to, and this is some speculation on my part, is there's a little bit of a rift here in America. We're divided. We have a Democrat in office, and so it would make a lot of sense to, there's this white dude that's been there for a while, or we've got this black chick a little more recently. Let's give back the black chick and let them fight about how unfair it is and affirmative action or whatever BS that people are saying, man. And that's not the case. There's no evidence that points to that. That she was brought back in preference to Whelan. Nobody connected to that has said anything remotely regarding that. And it's just Whelan wasn't on the table, man. Whether he's innocent or he's not, of course we want this guy back. But unfortunately, he just wasn't on the table. And if we can get somebody back from serving 9 years unjustly, or we could keep some dude serving another 11 of his 25 years, that seems like a no-brainer to me. What are your thoughts, Pop? I've been talking.
The thing is, this girl, a lot of the ladies, the women basketball organization,
yeah.
there's, as we know, they don't make a lot of money.
No,
not even close to what the guys do. And so they supplement their income by going and playing in all these other leagues. And this girl had played in Russia many times.
Mm-hmm.
She had been through the customs with the CBO before.
Uh-huh.
That was she went. She had to see the. So it wasn't like they didn't know about it. But the Ukrainian war changed everything. And yes, I do think she was used as a
political pawn.
A political pawn.
Right.
By Putin. And here's an interesting thing. Wheeler, now you guys can fact check this, but I got it from someplace that should be okay. Whelan was offered a exchange for this same guy, the Merchant of Death, by Putin to our former president, and the thing is, he turned it down.
Was it Trump that turned it down, or was it Putin that turned it down? Because I don't know if Whelan was ever on the table.
From my sources, well, check it out. From my sources, okay. Trump turned it down. Okay, turned it down. Now we can check that. The thing is, yes, there is a double thing for why we let her out, and the whole thing is they don't want to give Whelan up, and his family knows that, and that's the reason that they have come out and spoken to try to put a damper on this these, and you got to realize that the people who are saying these things are simply because it's the opposite party doing it.
Yeah, contrarianism. You know what I'm saying?
If their guy had bought her home, they would have applauded.
Mm.
If he had traded her for traded Whelan for the Virgin of Death, they would have given him a hero's welcome home. Mm-hmm. But because it's the other administration, that is where we have come when it comes to that type of thing here in America now.
Right.
And we should applaud the fact that we got the girl home. And I know she's somewhat controversial because of her...
She was taking a knee.
Activism and stuff. But we don't punish people for being an activist in this country. We shouldn't.
Right.
We're supposed to have the right.
That's what freedom of speech is.
That
protects you from the government to be able to say what you want, do what you want, be a dissenter, because that's how democracy works.
So I think we can have different sides about it. Some people can say, well, we shouldn't have traded her for this or that, and these are just differences of opinion.
And that's valid. If you say, we shouldn't have given up this murder to death guy, yeah, I get that. Yeah. But to say, she did the crime, she should do the time, it's clear that's not in good faith, because it's clear that she doesn't get the same punishment as other folks.
Yeah.
And to say, some people are saying, she hates America, or blah blah blah. Like, get out of here with that, man. She won us a gold medal. And, sometimes she speaks out against things that she sees that are wrong in this country. But I think we spoke about this on one of our early podcasts. Yeah. That is patriotism. That's the highest form. Yeah. If you love a country enough to go out and try to make changes, that is what patriotism is, in my opinion. But, man, it's great to see she's back. I hope to get Whelan back. I'm not sure of the specifics of his arrest. I know he was out there.
And anybody who thinks that any president, including, I hope, our former president, hasn't been working behind the scenes very hard to get this gentleman back. Mm-hmm. We want him back.
Right.
Okay? But on this time, this particular incident, he wasn't even...
It wasn't on the table.
On the table. But I would like for our readers to fact check what I said. I think the former president was offered to trade him for Whelan, and he turned it down. Fact check it, okay?
No.
But I think we have all got to get away from this thing that's happening. We should celebrate any American who is unjustly held someplace.
Right.
Their freedom should mean everything, and we shouldn't say because she was an activist or because or whatever your reasons might be, use that as a reason to condemn the fact that she's free again.
Right.
We should always celebrate that as Americans. We should do that. It's time for American, and I keep saying this, and we'll keep saying this. We've got to get to a point where we stop talking at each other all the time and talk with each other.
It's true. There was another podcast I was listening to, actually. It was called Intelligence Matters with a gentleman by the name of Michael Morrell. He used to be the deputy director of the CIA. And he had on a former director of the CIA, our good friend Leon Panetta. He had him on his show.
Yes.
And Leon was saying, back in the day, there's always been this left versus right, this Republican versus Democrat, this conservative versus liberal, this push and pull. It's always been there. But when shit really went down, when shit hit the fan, that aisle, everyone was going across it to really come together, find a common goal, find common goals to achieve, find common solutions to problems that we all experience. Because at the end of the day, whether you're blue or red or up or down or black or white or whatever you are, we're all Americans, and the good of the country should be good for us all. And he was saying that that's something that he doesn't see as often. Leon was saying that when he was serving his country, when stuff went down, these petty arguments they would sort of dissolve, and we would all be working together to, whether it's getting a bill passed, whether it's diverting funds for a war or whatever the case is. We sort of got together and we started agreeing, and now it seems like one side looks at the other side. Both sides do this. One side will look at the other side and says, if they're doing something, we should do the opposite. If they're supporting something, we should condemn it. If they're saying something's not important, we should raise it up. Like, it's almost like, strategically mapping out all these issues that you're either one way or the other on, and that's not how most people are. Most people fall on the middle part of a bell curve. If you can imagine, everyone's political opinions as a curve, most people fall somewhere in the middle, right? They could be conservative on, gun control, but liberal on public service, or whatever the case is. Most people fall somewhere in the middle, but now it seems like this rift is being created where, people are falling in these two camps, either further to the left than 20 years ago or further to the right. And it's too bad. But Brittney Griner's back. I'd love to work on getting Wheeling back 100%. Yeah, man. I think it's a good thing. Do you have any last thoughts on this topic?
Well, like I said, we should, as Americans, we should celebrate the fact that the girl is free. And it was a political thing by
giving her that extended sentence.
The entire thing was politically motivated,
right?
And still is being used to continue to divide us.
That's a good point.
It's just another thing to try to keep America divided. That is the plan, and it is being worked on 24/7 now. So people who love democracy, who love freedom, and who want to shove aside a bunch of misinformation and just be normal. I can't believe I'm saying that, normal.
Yeah, you of all people, right?
Yeah.
But no, it's true. One thing we kind of touched on, that's another hot button topic. I was saying that, the fact that Brittney Griner would go out and complain, or protest, or, speak out and be a social activist, doesn't mean she doesn't love America. And we started talking about freedom of speech. And freedom of speech is a really hot button issue right now, somehow. And so I'd like to do a little clarifying here myself. Have you heard about Elon Musk buying Twitter?
Yeah. I heard about that. When I first heard about it, I said to myself, uh-oh.
Right. Well, so freedom of speech, as outlined in our Constitution, protects the individual private citizen from the government, right? So, like, let's say if I'm saying, Biden's this, or Trump's that, or Nancy Pelosi's husband is this, that's all well and good, as long as I'm not calling any dangerous actions to action.
Or anything like that.
So what I'm saying is it protects the government, it protects the private citizen from the government with certain concessions, right? You can't yell bomb on an airplane, you can't yell fire in a theater, you can't tell everybody to go to someone's house and beat them up, you know what I'm saying? So there's certain asterisks, but for all intents and purposes, it makes it so that we can sit here and have a podcast and say these things are good, these things suck, so on and so forth. Now, what it doesn't protect the private citizen from the company or from the corporation or from another individual. You know what I'm saying? You can't just go and, make somebody cater to you even though you're saying crazy stuff, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's asterisks next to that too. Like, if you remember, there was a famous case of a bakery that didn't want to bake any goods for any gay people. Now, you can't just discriminate against an entire protected class of people, right? You can't say, "Oh, I'm not gonna make any sandwiches for Asian folks," or "I'm not gonna fix any Democrat's car," or "I'm not gonna do this or that." But it does protect against the individual, right? So if I am making a ruckus on a bus, they could kick me off, and I can't say, "Oh, you're discriminating against me," because that little sign whenever you go to a store that says we reserve the right to refuse service to anybody. Yeah, so that's not freedom of speech, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. So if Facebook is kicking you off of their platform, because you're saying the COVID vaccine is going to make you grow little horns and a curly tail, that's not infringing upon your freedom of speech because that's a private company. Now, if you were going out and saying that on the streets, the sidewalk somewhere, and you were to get arrested, that would be encroaching upon your freedom of speech. And so that's what a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah.
But, Brittney Griner going out and saying that Black Lives Matter, or going out and saying that, she deserves more pay, that's not her hating America. That's, simply her enacting her rights as a private citizen.
It's an interesting thing when Musk took over Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
You know me, I don't really know too much about Twitter myself. I'm just not a part of that whole thing.
Right. Dad thinks Twitter is what happens before you kill the turkey for Thanksgiving. Right?
But the interesting thing was once he took it over, I don't know too much about Musk. I just know this one thing, that when someone has too much power, and these days power means money. When someone has too much power corrupts.
Yep. There's a famous quote: "Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely."
And when I heard he was taking over Twitter, I said to myself, "Uh-oh." And as soon as he took it over and decided he was going to open Twitter back up, whatever he said, overnight, anti-Jewish
sentiments on the platform
went up 60%.
Yeah, their use of the N-word.
Anti-homosexual stuff went up 60 or 50%, and anti-black rhetoric shot up 265% on Twitter.
Right.
Just because he took it over. So it's like the freedom of speech. Like you say, it's not absolute. You can't spread hate and clear lies and misinformation.
Right.
Our companies should be able to police their own company and not have someone on there saying that you can whatever that all of this group are Satan worshipers or just crazy stuff.
Right. Now something you might not know, but I go on Twitter from time to time. I like to check it out. Something else that Elon's been doing. So Elon bought this social media platform, Twitter, under the guise of being a free speech absolutionist, which means you can say whatever you want, basically do whatever you want, and blah blah blah. Right. Now, ironically, this was a couple weeks ago. If you guys didn't know, everyone's plane flights are public information, right? So private plane flights are also public information. And so if you want to know where any of these people who go around in private planes are, you could basically just look it up online. Now, somebody had created a Twitter account that was basically "Where's Elon?" that would stream this information onto Twitter. And Elon went ahead and blocked a few other reporters that were reporting on this account and how interesting it was. And it's funny that he came on as a free speech absolutionist and then started blacking people that were not releasing private information. He wasn't doxing. Doxing is a term for saying releasing private information. This is all public stuff that you could find on the internet without looking too hard, And so it is a little bit ironic, but when Elon bought this platform, it was under the guise of free speech absolutionism, and what it really is becoming is a big cash grab. Facebook, most social media companies are based in California or on the West Coast or on the East Coast, but somewhere on the coast, which happen to be predominantly blue states. And so there's sort of a big complaint that all these places where people get a lot of the news, right? Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, which was bought by Facebook, or even Amazon, which is based in Seattle, they're all left leaning, they said. And so I think what happened is Elon bought this thing and is trying to turn it into a right leaning platform, and make the stocks go up like that, which I understand is it's a tactic, but to sort of frame it as, I'm doing this for the public good, freedom of speech is is this and that, and show that you don't really believe in that. I think it's sort of showing his true colors.
Yeah.
Another thing he's doing is during the January 6th, during leading up to the election, there was some in 2020 there was some interaction between the federal government and Twitter to sort of try to keep these, and then also during COVID, there's some interaction between the federal government and Twitter to try to keep people from, organizing a insurrection at the Capitol or things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? And he's like releasing a bunch of documents online, like to that effect, talking about how they were silencing people on the right and they were blah blah blah, all this stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how this develops. But keep in mind, I'm 100% pro free speech.
Yes.
You can't be peddling information that'll get people injured or killed. You can't call for people to take up arms against an individual. You can't just do basic common knowledge stuff. You can't say we're gonna round up all of X minority or anything to that effect. You just can't. And to say that you should be able to say whatever is like those hardcore libertarians that say, oh, I should be able to have whatever kind of gun you want. If I can fit it, into my car, I should be able to have a big, 50 cal. That's just not practical. You can't do anything. You can't have any arm. You can't say anything. There's limits to things that are right for society to be able to function correctly.
Yeah, and the guys, they tout him as a great genius or whatever.
What's funny is he didn't even actually start any of those companies. He bought
Tesla.
He bought Tesla. The thing was that before Tesla was he started a company that formed to become PayPal, but he didn't even start that. He bought into that, and then it became PayPal, and he got out for billions of dollars.
Oh, he was involved in PayPal.
Yeah. So he's not a stupid guy.
No, I wouldn't think so. But
I don't think he has as much to do with companies like SpaceX and Tesla as people think. He
bought the companies and the technology that went along with it.
Right. Yeah. He doesn't hold any patents. I mean, there's some things that he does that are good. This isn't a dunk on Elon session. Yeah. He has made most of his Tesla things, besides the batteries, which are the really important things. He's made it open source so that people can improve upon it and things like that. And Tesla in and of itself, I think electric cars are the wave of the future, and getting a society to a point where we don't have to be reliant on fossil fuels and things like that. This is an important way to do that.
I think what happened with this Twitter thing is that once he got it, a lot of his sponsors left. Mm-hmm. And they left in droves. And now I hear that he held a poll to find out who agreed with him running the company.
Right.
And overwhelmingly, I think they voted him out, and now he says that he's going to abide by that. So maybe if he steps back.
Well, no. But he came out and he said, well, maybe we should only have people who pay for Twitter, because Twitter now has a paid service available. So maybe only people that pay for Twitter should be able to vote. And guess who?
If that happens, then
who's going to pay for Twitter and not be an Elon supporter? I mean, it's just it's funny. I don't know how self-aware this guy is, but he at least seems to fancy himself a certain sort of person publicly, right? Like very fair, right, with this freedom of speech stuff, with this taking polls and creating policy based on that for Twitter. Like, it seems very democratic, and at face value it seems very good, but like as soon as it's freedom of speech with information that he doesn't want everyone to see, you can't do that. Kick him off, right? As soon as there's a poll that doesn't go exactly the way he wants to, maybe we should change who can vote in these polls. I'm not sure if he sees himself the same way that other people are starting to see him, but
apparently some of the people who he fired were fired just because they reported didn't agree with him,
right,
so to speak. So I don't know. So like I say, I don't know much about him, but I just know this thing about when you get a lot of power, it does things. And I don't think anyone, you have to be a very, very special person to be not prone to fall
into that trap.
To that. And from what little I have watched him, in the beginning I had very favorable opinion of him, but as I watched him, I see that.
Mm-hmm.
I see that, and I wish him well, but I think he's going to be a problem along with some of the other problems, at some point.
The thing about Elon is at face value, again, he is a lot of the things that you want out of an influencer, I guess you could say, right? He's got plans to expand humans into space, put people on Mars. He's got this electric car company, and he's buying a social media platform in the name of free speech. These all sound like things that I could get behind at face value. But once you dig in a little bit deeper, you start to this facade that he seems to have created for himself. It starts to crumble a little bit. But if anybody that's trying to get away from move towards renewable resources, I'm game. Anyone that wants to do things in the name of science and exploration, I'm game. But you dig a little deeper, and the narrative changes a little bit, and that's unfortunate because those things I'm definitely in favor of.
So it's like I say, I'm still watching him very, very closely. He's I'll save my suspicions for later.
Right. Right.
But so far, I've seen the curve going exactly the way it usually goes when someone when their head starts to get affected by the amount of power that they have.
What do they say that the road to hell is paved with?
Good intentions.
Right.
Good intentions. Yeah. So anyway, this is another thing. You know what I'm going to do? Our former president is making a ton of money off of his followers.
How's he doing that?
Now, he's always done it.
Right.
But now with these cards things.
Oh, he's got the NFTs?
Oh, let me tell you something. I saw it. I think it is the greatest con job ever, and I'm going to do it.
You're going to do alligator NFTs?
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
That sounds like a plan.
And, I can see myself, lasers coming
Laser
out of my
eyes,
yeah. And, I already got the cowboy thing going, so we don't have to worry about that. But I'd like to be a CIA agent, maybe a trench coat or something.
Or like jumping out of a plane or something like that.
Yes.
There you go.
And the thing is, I sort of looked into that, and I was saying, now how can I get started with this? And then I found out how he got started. There's a company that NFT or whatever they call the company that's putting the cards out. The company was formed in February, and it was it has a fancy name, the INT or whatever that they call it, but this type of thing. But when you go to the address of the company,
Mm-hmm.
the address of the company is a mailbox in a UPS store in Park City, Utah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, I think it was formed in Delaware, but anyway, and they say on their website that they are in no way associated with Donald Trump. It's not managed by him or anything. That they license his image from this other company.
Mm.
And when you follow the other company, their address is Donald Trump's international golf course in Palm Springs.
Gotcha.
So I can just see me getting these cards. You people out there listening to me, I'm gonna get these cards, and he's charging $99. I'm not gonna do that at all. $50, good. And it's gonna be coming out. It's gonna be coming out in a few months. I will be viewing them on the show. I want you guys to look at them and say yes. That's it.
Oh, you're serious, huh?
Yeah. Yes.
Some alligator NFTs, man. I'm excited.
No, you gotta know I'm kidding.
I'm just kidding. But I'll tell you that
he's literally telling his base that you guys are stupid.
Well, you know what? I think I might have a theory on why he's doing this. As we all know, Trump's getting ready to run 2024. And Trump likes to pretend to be for other people. I think he might be doing this in a way to raise money so that he could say, I'm doing all this without any donations from these big companies. He always tries to position himself as not within this political sphere. He's like, all these, these lifetime politicians. Joe Biden's been a politician for 50 years, and he gets all these corporate sponsors, and so, he's really just a puppet with, Nestle or Disney or whatever these big companies hand up their butt and blah, blah, blah. And so he might be doing this as sort of a way to say, I'm raising my money through these good means, whereas people are buying these things that aren't going to be worth anything in a couple months, and they're getting played out of it. But I think that might be his intention behind it.
Yeah. And then he may be just the ultimate narcissist. Do you know that he, during his 50th birthday party, on the candle in his cake, he had the Superman figure with his head on it for his 50th birthday.
That's crazy, man.
So this idea is not something that just popped up. This is the way he has been seeing himself for quite a while. It's his 50th birthday, Superman with his head on it on the cake. I mean, this is documented stuff.
Right. I believe it, man. That's some pretty out there shit. You gotta have some sort of complex if you're putting yourself on a cake, much less putting yourself on a Superman on a cake.
But you know what? He's gonna make tons of money though, because a lot of and I don't blame the guy. If you got a bunch of people out there who, no matter what shit you throw at them,
right.
They're gonna send you money. I mean, why not?
Well, you were ex-president of the United States. You should probably have a little bit of integrity. But...
Come on, he didn't have integrity when he was president.
All right. Let's not get we can go deep in on this.
But anyway, it's just funny. I'm sure the comedians are having.
Oh, 100%, 100%. That was funny. Hey, so keep an eye out for those alligator NFTs. All right. Do we have any shows coming up?
Well, I'm still doing my. I'm gonna be at the Bonton Elroy's Lighthouse Smokehouse in Monterey for New Year's Eve.
Hey.
For New Year's Eve, they're having a New Year's Eve party, so I'll be there doing my crazy stuff.
Bringing the new year with alligator.
Yes. And I'm gonna be doing more public gigs starting next year. I think I'm gonna come a little bit more out of my little shell.
I thought turtles had shells, not alligators.
But anyway,
you got another song for?
Yeah, you want to do that? Do it. You can join in on this if you like.
All right.
This is urban rock, I think it is.
Make sure you cut that on.
Yeah, and I forget. Let's give this a try. It's one of those urban rock, I guess is what you call it. Lonely mother looking out window at a child she knows she can't touch.
Hey.
When he's in a jam, she'll be there by his side, but he doesn't know he hurts her so much. And all the praying, it ain't helping at all. Can't seem to keep himself out of trouble. Hey, so he makes his money the best way he knows how. Another body lying cold in the gutter. Hear me now. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to. You're gonna have it your way or nothing at all. I think you're moving too fast. Moving too fast. One more time. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to. You're gonna have it your way or nothing at all. I think you're moving too fast. Yeah. Moving too fast.
Tell him, Pops.
Precious has a natural obsession for temptation, but he just can't see. She gives him loving that his body can't handle, and all he can say is, baby, it's good to me, good to me, good to me. And then one day he takes a look in the mirror, and he doesn't recognize his own face. His health is fading, and he doesn't know why. 3 words took him to his final resting place. I said, now don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to. Hey, you're gonna have it your way or nothing at all. I think you're moving too fast. Moving too fast. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to. I know you're gonna have it your way or nothing at all. I think you're moving too fast. Moving too fast. Don't go chasing waterfalls. With the rivers and the lakes that you used to. The rivers and the lakes. You're gonna have it your way or nothing at all. I think you're moving too fast. Moving too fast.
I don't know where that harmony came from, man. I thought it sounded good though, huh? All right.
Listen. This is Alligator and Cowboy Dhani.
In alignment.
In alignment. Alligator in alignment. It's been wonderful being with you guys. This is the Christmas holiday. I'm going to do another podcast by myself and do my little Christmas show. So just before Christmas, I will be putting out another one.
All right.
Okay,
And don't
do my
forget.
little Christmas show. God bless each and every one of you. Keep you happy. Keep you smiling. We hope that you will keep tuning in and tell your friends. And this is the first time I'm going to say this because it's really hard for me to do this kind of stuff. I don't like saying stuff like this, but people tell me I need to say this. If you would like for you to just subscribe and also hit the like button. I never say that because I figure, well, if people hit it, they hit it because they want. I don't want to have to tell somebody that. But people tell me that's how you do it. So yeah. I'm breaking down and saying that if you hit the like button. All I can say at this point is happy trails. This is Alligator.
Cowboy Dhani, you can still call me that. And we'll see y'all for the next time. Thanks for checking us out.
Yes, indeed. Happy trails.